The first time I realized I'd become the punchline of some twisted HOA joke, I was holding a $5,000 electric bill in one hand and a cup of gas station coffee in the other, trying to convince myself I hadn't lost my mind. I'm Roman Ellers, just your average 39-year-old electrician who wanted nothing more than to finish work, kick off my boots, and enjoy a little peace in Maple Ridge, a neighborhood supposedly about community, but really run by the iron fist of Regina Catley, the bleach-blonde president whose voice could strip paint and whose clipboard is more like a weapon than an accessory. If you've never met the type, count yourself lucky. Around here, planting the wrong color petunias is grounds for a summons. So 3 weeks ago, I opened my power bill and just about swallowed my own tongue. $5,000. $5,000. I don't live in a casino, I don't host raves, and my kid's PS5 barely gets used outside of weekends. I stood there in my kitchen pacing, muttering, "What in the hell is this?" Like maybe I'd spot a space heater I forgot about or an extension cord running straight to Narnia. No such luck. I called the power company, got put on hold for 28 minutes, and when I finally got a human, they told me the meter was accurate. You know how that feels? Like being gaslit by a spreadsheet. But something wasn't right. I'm an electrician. I trust my gut. So I headed outside and checked the meter myself. Only this thing wasn't ticking along. It was spinning like a blender with the lid off. I followed the line, and I'll be damned if I didn't find a thick cable running out from my box, tunneling across the green belt, straight into the HOA's fancy new clubhouse. Yeah, the same clubhouse that suddenly got industrial AC, a heated pool, and security lights bright enough to land a 747. Well, I did what any self-respecting electrician would do. I crashed the next HOA meeting, waving my monster bill around. The room was mostly retirees pretending to pay attention while sipping lemonade. And there's Regina at the head of the table, salmon pantsuit, looking like she's about to announce her candidacy. Regina. I say, "You want to explain why my meter's powering your Taj Mahal over there?" She just blinks at me, all innocent, saying the contractor handled everything, and if there's a problem, it's just an accident. Sure. So I ask, "You accidentally wired up the clubhouse to my house and forgot to mention it?" She brushes me off. Let's not get dramatic. Dramatic. Lady, I am 1-0 away from losing my house. She tells me to file a complaint, says I'll get a response in writing, and practically throws me out. But you know me, I wasn't about to let it go. I spent the next few days crawling around the property, installing cameras near the meter, tracing every foot of that cable. Turns out this wasn't some half-baked mistake. That line was buried deep, run through a fake irrigation box, split off to every upgrade in that clubhouse HVAC pool heaters, even those cheesy outdoor speakers for yoga on the lawn. They even used fake city inspection tags trying to make it look official. I took pictures, shot video, and snapped a shot of a stamped permit one Regina herself had signed, swearing the power came from the city grid. It didn't. It came from me. By the time I brought all that to Samira, my lawyer friend who owed me for rewiring her bakery, she just shook her head. "Roman, that's criminal misappropriation. That's wire fraud." "Can we make it stick?" I asked. She grinned. "If we make it public, you'll need sunglasses." So yeah, I filed a police report, handed over everything to the city, and braced myself. The clerk at City Hall's eyes got real wide when she saw the permit number because it didn't even exist in their system. The next night, while Regina's throwing her planning forum wine party, let's be real, I waited for the right moment. At exactly 8:13 p.m., I flipped the main disconnect labeled Aux Feed Junction X42. The clubhouse dropped into darkness like a stone in a pond. Music cut, lights blinked out, someone shrieked across the green belt. I poured myself a glass of water, waited, and 15 minutes later, Regina's at my door, furious hair frizzed from the heat. "What did you do?" she snaps. "Don't play dumb. You sabotaged the clubhouse after leaving that love note." I shrugged. Didn't leave a note. I left an invoice for $5, $247.39, plus late fees. She called it extortion. I called it fair play. She tries to muscle her way into my house. I block the door. You're trespassing, Regina. You want to talk crime. Try forging permits and stealing power. For a second, her mask cracked. Then she turned to steel. You'll regret this. I just smiled because I already felt a whole lot better. By the next day, the neighborhood was buzzing. People were pissed. The clubhouse was dark, and when the local teens posted video of the exact second the lights cut, it matched my footage perfectly. Suddenly, everyone's asking questions. Regina, desperate, sends out a mass email blaming a disgruntled homeowner. That just made things worse. By Sunday, my porch looked like a bake sale neighbor showing up with cookies and questions. When I showed them the evidence, they were ready to riot. Mark, a retired engineer, spotted the scam in about 30 seconds. We called a meeting, no board members allowed. 30 people showed up in the park, from cranky retirees to young parents, and even the dude who never waves. We rolled out a projector, showed the wiring footage, fake tags, and Samira read the city's response. The permit was a fake, the number belonged to another town, and every signature traced back to Regina. That crowd went silent, then it exploded. Some wanted Regina gone that night, others called for lawsuits, audits, the whole works. I just let it burn. I'd already lit the match. Police showed up midweek, warrant in hand. They grabbed permits, checks, and invoices straight from the HOA office, everyone signed by Regina. Thursday morning, she was gone. No tearful speech, just a cold little email about personal matters. We filed a civil claim for the money. Half the block joined in. The contractor flipped, turning over emails, implicating other board members. The clubhouse stayed dark for weeks. When it reopened, it was under a brand new board. Mark joined, so did a school teacher named Lacey, and somehow me. Apparently, you break one scam and you're the hero. Our first act, mandatory quarterly audits, everything public and every future project verified by an outside inspector. Regina's house sold below market. No one even watched her U-Haul drive away. We held our first board meeting at the public library. No fancy clubhouse, just mismatched chairs and a battered table. Lacey brought a laptop, Mark his ancient calculator, and I had a notepad labeled accountability. That's when we started digging deeper, and oh boy. Lacey flagged $20,000 in landscaping evaluations with no receipts, just Regina's signature. I found $8,000 to a security consultant who was really just a mailbox at a UPS store. Mark deadpan as ever muttered, "Shell companies." Classic. We called in a forensic accountant. By week's end, we'd uncovered over $90,000 in fake charges and double-billed pest control. Even legal retainers to a firm that had never even represented us. I called the city fraud division. 2 investigators came by the next day. "You have any idea how common this is?" one asked. "Most folks never notice." I grinned. "Well, they stole from the wrong electrician." That's when things got ugly. Mailbox, smashed dead possum in my screen door, creepy anonymous letters. Lacey found a note under her wiper. Mark's dog sniffed out one in a steak. We reported everything. Samira passed us to the state attorney general's office. When the audit finished, the number was $183,000 gone. The landscaper was Regina's cousin, the consultant, her nephew, the legal firm, a shell company she ran. The AG's office moved fast. Regina was arrested at her new job. Dalton, the vice president, picked up at the golf course. Yeah, the one who fined a neighbor for a garden gnome. The local news went wild. Front page mugshots, HOA, president, accused of massive fraud. Suddenly, folks in Maple Ridge started talking again. People who never made eye contact now waved. Someone launched a community website, and transparency went viral. We installed solar panels on the clubhouse roof. Mark ran the project, I did the wiring, and we paid for it with the money we clawed back. Regina's trial was a circus, wire fraud, theft, forgery, the whole menu. The jury convicted her on every count. The judge gave her 8 years. Dalton got probation and restitution. When the sentence came down, a few of us watched just to make sure it was real. But that wasn't the end. The accountant found a $6,000 expedited compliance charge from 2 years ago. No invoice, no vendor. Samira's eyes narrowed. That's a payoff. Mark contacted a former board member, Evelyn, who'd quit before things got hot. She confessed Regina paid off a city inspector named Tanner. Turns out Tanner approved permits without ever showing up. The city nailed him for bribery and conspiracy. He turned state's witness names. Our case against the old board just got nuclear. At the next barbecue, I met Detective Clara Ray from the DA's office. She showed up, scoped out the neighborhood. Cases like this don't happen often. Most HOAs get away with it, she said. Not this one, I told her. In court, Regina's defense tried to spin her as overwhelmed. No one was buying it. The final nail was a voice memo, her own voice telling Dalton to keep it quiet and make sure the electrician doesn't figure it out. The jury needed less than 6 hours. Regina, 12 years, no parole until year 8. Dalton got 5. Third board member, lifetime ban from anything HOA. The city responded with a massive audit of every HOA in town. We passed rules, term limits, spending caps, mandatory dual inspections. At our last meeting, Lacey asked if I ever pictured running a neighborhood. Not once, I laughed, but if you don't check the foundation, things rot. That night I walked the block, watching the lights ripple on porch by porch, and realized for the first time in years this place actually felt like home. So, here's my question. How many neighborhoods out there have a Regina running the show and nobody checking the wiring? How much gets stolen while folks look the other way? Let me know down below. Ever caught someone with their hand in the cookie jar? Or maybe you just wish you had. Either way, hit that share button, tell your story, and keep your eyes open. Because sometimes the biggest thieves wear name tags and call it community.